Welcome once again to Kira's Kitchen. Here I am, and today I'm going to make a mystery dessert. So I'm not going to tell you what it is until I'm partway through and I think you're going to figure it out. Anyway, so here we go. I'm following a recipe which I will share with you at the end of the video. So the first thing I'm going to do is mix up yeast with warm milk, lukewarm milk, not cold milk or hot milk, but lukewarm, it says today. And I'm going to activate it with a little bit of sugar. So the recipe for the dough that I'm making calls for half a cup of sugar. I just pulled half a teaspoon out of that half cup so that I still have the half cup amount and no more. And we are supposed to put two and a quarter teaspoons of active dry yeast. So you can see this lovely jar of yeast that I bought at the beginning of the pandemic. And now I'm finally getting around to using it a bit more. 2 1/4. Here's the quarter, tiny little thing. Let's hope that it's still active and live and isn't going to give me a problem. So it says
I look to the yeast.
To the yeast. Oh, Eris. So I pour it in the warm
I'm singing
milk.
now. Can you be quiet, please?
Okay.
I'm singing.
I know, Eris. You know, go ahead and sing if you like. It's okay.
Well, that's
So
okay.
I'm just gonna let the yeast bubble up here. It says that it's supposed to bubble up, and if it doesn't do anything, then you kind of know that your yeast isn't active anymore. So crossing fingers that it's active. So that is supposed to sit for about 5 minutes, and I will leave it undisturbed over there. Now I'm gonna start mixing together the ingredients for the dough. I need more dough. I think everyone needs more dough. Okay, so let's start. 4 cups of all-purpose flour. I have a spoon here. I'm going to scoop into the bag of flour down here and just level off the top with the spoon so that I get a very accurate measurement. It's not too heavy in the cup. It's not packed down in the cup. It's nice and light and fluffy. So that's 2. It's so funny. I always lose count when I'm counting cups of flour. One of my bread recipes calls for 6 cups, and you have to add it gradually. So I would use a 1/4 cup, and boy oh boy did I lose count quickly on that. Anyway, there's our 4 cups of flour. And next, we are going to put in 1 teaspoon of salt. So here's my salt well. I picked this up a couple years ago. It's a nice stone salt well. I already forget. This is gonna go slowly. 1 teaspoon of salt. What did you say, Eris?
How many cups of flour did you use? 3?
4. I put 4.
Weren't you supposed to put 6?
He's trying to mess me up. No. That's not.
6.
I'm not making 2 loaves of bread this time. I'm making something else. So what could it be? I've stirred in the salt just to sort of evenly distribute it in there. And here goes the rest of our sugar. And I've already, you see, today I was prepared. I've already whipped up a couple of eggs here. So we're supposed to, let me just stir this in a little bit. You want your dry ingredients to mix together so that they activate a little better before you add any wet ingredients. Don't ask me how I know that. I think it's just years of watching my mom do stuff, or various other ladies whom I've seen cooking over the years. So we'll just make a well in the middle and stick our eggs down in there. And then we'll pour. I think we're ready. I think I've got some frothy bubbles there with my yeast. So I'll mix this together just a little bit. What does it say to do? To the bowl of your mixer, add the sugar, butter, or margarine, salt, eggs, flour, and mix. So it's time to put the butter in. I probably should have put the butter in before But I've got my room temperature butter now. I don't know why I just picked that up with my hands when I didn't need to, but I'll cut it in. It's nice and soft, so it shouldn't be too tough to cut in. I actually have a pastry blender somewhere down under my cabinet here, so perhaps that is a smart tool to get out. There, see, again, not prepared. Not prepared. Let's see if my fork can do the job. Oh yeah, fork is doing okay. Hurrah, fork.
Are you talking to the fork the same way you talk to the knife?
Listen, fork, do the job. Okay, stirring in. And yeah, the butter's, I think, still a little bit too big and clumpy for this, so I'm going to go for the pastry blender now. Bear with me. Let's see, where are you? This is a very old pastry blender. It used to be my mom's, and I've had it probably for about 30 years. I guess maybe that's when she stopped making pies or something. Anyway, she gave it to me. So I kept it. I like family heirlooms like that. I have a couple of things here that belong to my grandmother as well, which I really treasure. And they're so antiquated, it's really quite interesting the kind of materials that were used for kitchen utensils back in the day. Things that we might not even consider to be healthy today, or that we wouldn't want to store food in, like just a tin cup. I have a tin measuring cup. I'll show it to you in a minute. Yeah, it used to be my grandmother's. And the other neat thing I have is an egg slicer. It's an old wire and metal egg slicer, and quite lovely, but it doesn't work anymore. It just kind of looks good sitting on the counter. So I keep them over there. Okay, this is blending up nicely. My yeast is frothing up nicely. I'm a happy camper so far. I don't have the greatest luck with dough in general, so I'm really hoping that this whole thing is going to work out nicely, especially since I'm taping. That would be pretty embarrassing, right? If it didn't turn out properly while I'm showing this to all of you. Yes. Oh, by the way, that's from Little Britain. If you haven't seen Little Britain, you should watch some of it. It's a tad offensive, but if you can get over the offensive bits, it's actually quite funny. A grain of salt required for Little Britain. But we used to love it way back when, maybe 10, 15 years ago. We would watch Little Britain. Okay, pastry blender has done the trick. All of this, the butter's still a bit chunky, which is apparently a good thing. You don't want to blend it perfectly. And I think that I'm ready to mix the yeast in. So what does it say? Yes. Pour the milk yeast mixture over the flour mixture, and using the dough hook, which is my arm, mix it well until it's incorporated and the dough comes clean from the side of the bowl. So, okay, so here we go. I don't know, I just kind of want to stir it up, but it is nice and frothy in there. And there it goes. This could be a complete disaster. I honestly don't know. But here we go. Turn the bowl around as you work. Again, I don't have one of those big fancy mix masters. I used to, and I don't even know where it went. It's gone. And that's Tim Conway. Somehow residually sticks with me. It's gone. Okay, my dough is coming together nicely here too. Wow, that lukewarm milk really does the trick. Who knew? All right, I'm gonna have to put my hands in here though to get the bits on the bottom, I think. Yeah. Oh, there. Nice, nice. It's coming. See that? Ooh. Coming together nicely, as a dough should. And it's a sweet dough, so you already figured that out, right? Based on all the sugar that has gone into it. And yes, I was trying to do the whole keto diet thing, but today I fell off the wagon and I decided I want to eat something doughy and prepare something sweet for our evening, for a treat. Might be for the next couple of evenings, because there's no way on God's green earth we're gonna eat all this tonight. But we are certainly going to give it a go and get it started. All right, fingers are going in. I washed my hands, by the way, with soap a bunch of times, so they're really clean. All right, I'm freaked out about that whole thing, by the way. How do you make food without getting your hands in it, right? So here we are, just mixing the dough with my hands, pulling it all together in the bowl. It's still a bit crumbly, but it's a good thing, I think. Look at this. Ooh, it's actually quite elastic already. So I'm quite pleased. Yes. All right, so now I am supposed to place the dough in an oiled bowl. Well, I'm gonna take a chance and just stick it back in this bowl here. I'm not about to put olive oil in with this, and I don't really have any other oil in the house that I wish to use, so I'm fine with leaving it like this. And then we're just gonna cover it, and it says to let it sit for about 1 hour until the dough has doubled in size. So that is part 1 of our recipe. I'm back. How many of you caught the epic fail in the first part of my video, where I only put 1 1/4 teaspoons of yeast into the mix? So guess what? This has not raised up very much. It's grown a little bit, but it hasn't doubled in size. So I'm not sure how it's gonna turn out now, but whatever, I'm gonna just keep going and see what happens. So I'm gonna sprinkle some flour out here on my countertop, and that's just cinnamon and sugar and stuff, and see if I can roll it out as required. This is my giant bag of flour. This is the second 10-pound bag, 10 kilogram bag of flour I've gotten since the pandemic started. The first one mostly was bread that I baked for my mom, because she likes bread without preservatives and everything. So I was making bread a lot, and then I got tired of making bread. You know, you gotta change things up every so often. So let's just see what happens when I pull this lovely amount of dough out. Just gonna flour a tiny bit of it and put some on my rolling pin. Okay, let's get this out of the way. It's right underfoot. You back later. All right, are we ready? Wish me luck, because this to me is the most difficult part. I always have the most trouble, and of course it's probably because I never have enough yeast, clearly. It says to roll it into a rectangular kind of square, to in a rectangular shape. So I'm gonna do my best to do that. Oh, it's actually behaving really nicely. Oh, this could surprise me. I feel surprised with myself and with my dough. Haha. Yes, and it already wants to go off the edge of the counter, so I better start moving it this way. Away, move it away from the edge. Yeah, oh wow, this is going great. I'm already happier than I was only a minute ago. It doesn't take much to make me happy, clearly. Anyway, look at this. Oh, it's so nice and elastic. I'm really Not unhappy at all. So that is that. Now, the next thing I'm supposed to do is mix together. Have you figured out what I'm making yet? This is cinnamon and brown sugar mixed together, and this is butter. And I'm supposed to spread butter on this. Butter apparently should be fairly thick on here. And I want to tell you all, I'm going to share, this is my first time making this recipe. So where did the recipe come from to me? Well, it's on the interwebs, obviously, but it came from a lovely person who was our tenant in the basement for a couple of years before my mom moved down there, and that person is Rachel. And Rachel, there it is. How is it already? Oh, how did my timer get set for that? No. How about no? No timer. Oh, that was the 60-minute timer for the dough. That's why. You see, I'm such a doofus that I don't know what I'm doing from 1 minute to the next. Anyway, I was telling you about Rachel. So Rachel moved to British Columbia at the end of June last summer, and she has gotten herself a job as a teacher there, and we're very, very happy for her and very proud of her, but we miss her a lot here in Ontario. And it's not just because of the desserts that she used to make for us. I almost gave away what I'm making here. Rachel, you're gonna know right away what this is. Anyway, I'm grateful to Rachel because she taught me that I could probably cook anything if I tried, if I set my mind to it, and I think you can too. It's just sometimes you run into these crazy problems that set you back a little bit, make things a bit difficult, like getting this butter on here. It's not going well, but I think it could stand to be a bit thicker actually, because look how much I'm supposed to put all this butter on top of there. So I'm just going to start being perhaps a little more liberal with the butter spreading business. And I might get my spatula out actually, because the knife, it's not so easy to work with. No. You crazy knife. Yeah. So anyway, I am very happy with this dough. It did turn out to roll out to the exact thickness. The recipe says that the dough should be about 1/4 inch thick, which is pretty much what I've got here. So I'm pleased with that. So you know that what I've got in the bowl there, has anybody guessed what this is going to be yet? Because there's another whole step that goes into this effort. And that'll happen once I put this in the oven. So I will do that together with you as well. Yeah, definitely the butter needs to be super thick, clearly. Wow, look how much butter I've already got on here, and I feel like I haven't used half of what was on the plate. So I'm gonna have to lay it on thicker and see what happens. Oh, the sin, I can feel my belly swelling already with this. Woo-woo! I mean, honestly, what's a couple of treats gonna make a difference if I have them once in a while, right? It's not gonna kill me. I don't think it'll kill me. It shouldn't hurt more than the odd glass of wine I'm having, and I'm really trying not to have those either. I think the key is moderation, right? So everything in moderation. Enjoy your life, but be careful not to overdo one or two things or overdo everything, because then you just end up not being able to cope for one reason or another. It does things to you to overdo, to indulge. All right, so this end has a ton of butter. The other end, not so much. So I'm going back over here. Oh my gosh, the smell of the cinnamon and sugar is already making me cuckoo. Wow. Oh, yeah, if I were to sing, I wouldn't even know what to sing while I cooked and baked. I think it would throw me off. Even just talking to you throws me off a little bit. Pretty silly, I know, but I lose my focus very easily. So I don't know how other people do this without planning it. I guess they plan it. That's my problem. I don't even know what the recipe, how it goes yet, so I'm not as confident with this as I was with the pasticcio, obviously. I think I might throw my rolling pin back on this. I know that probably sounds crazy. Many of you are probably saying, use the tongs, use the tongs. That's an inside joke. Anyway, the best laid plans of mice and men. That's what this is all about. They shall be ruined. And I don't care. I care not how it actually goes. So yeah, it's not a perfectly even layer of butter. I don't know if this is how everyone else's looks, sort of midstream like this, but I'm fine with it. And I know that it's all gonna melt into an ooey gooey delicious mess. Yum, yum, yum. Rachel, you're probably laughing at me right now. I'm sorry. I wish I could have watched you do this. That would have been something. Yeah. Okay. Oh, look, it's coming together nicely now. Nice and smooth. Yeah, let me just see. I think that's enough butter. I really don't feel like I want to use any more than that. So I'm just going to squish the dough out a bit more to even it out. Oh no, that was a mistake. Look. Woo! Butter sticks to rolling pin and no, not so good. Not so good of an idea. Okay. So scrap that. As I learned the hard way, as usual. Okay, let me put this butter back over here. I think I'm good actually. This should work really well. So the next thing that gets done is the cinnamon and sugar layer gets put on. There we go. And good Lord, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to put this on evenly, so let me try to sprinkle it with a spoon and just see. The recipe calls for dark sugar, dark brown. All I had was yellow sugar, but I'm fine with that too. I think it should be just fine. So here we go. It's going on pretty thick. Oh my. How gorgeous is that? Ooh. I know, I'm probably sticking my tongue out because when I'm focusing, I do that. How many of you do that unconsciously? Oh, now the oven's preheated. I should know my beeps. I should know from one beep to another what the beep is. But I'm not a professional cook, no, I'm not. I may want to be, or as Matthew would call me, a try-hard cook. A try-hard Greek person. By the way, Greek people can make this too. You don't have to only always make Greek food. You could make this kind of thing as well. So there. Hopefully I'll inspire somebody, perhaps you, to try something like this, even if it's not your traditional family type of recipe. Gosh, is it an amazing treat to have. And look at that, I'm almost finished sprinkling this onto the dough, but I've got a shit ton left. Sorry, I'm sorry for the profanity. I know I have a lot of lovely friends who would never swear. Or would you? Ha, maybe you would. You know, these days, we have a lot to swear about. I think we've all had enough with being locked in our houses, but for the good of all the people, we're still doing the right thing and really not getting out there and spreading things around. So if you're staying home, thank you. And thank you to all of the frontline workers who are helping us get through this incredibly difficult time. We're very grateful to you. Here we go, the very last bits of the cinnamon and sugar. Whoop, 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 whoop. All right, okay, crash. Now, the next thing is I think I want to pat it down. I don't know why, but something tells me when I start to roll this over, it's all gonna fall off. So I'm gonna pat it down just a little bit here. And God, wish me luck when I start rolling this, because that also is probably a challenge, just to get this dough up off of the surface of my countertop. However, that is why I put flour underneath it, so that hopefully it wouldn't stick. And I don't have cinnamon all the way to the edge, because look, I'm falling off the edge. I really didn't plan very well again on this. Okay, so I know that there's a trick to help me lift the dough, and that's the edge of a really long knife. So I'm gonna grab, here it is, my second favorite knife. I just washed it a little while ago, so, okay, let's see. Oh, look, it's not sticking at all. Okay, here we go, people. She is rolling it. Now, isn't this fun? Oh my gosh, I can taste it already. I can imagine how this is going to taste. Can you? Yeah, baby, it's gonna be good. All right, if I go over here, it might be easier to pull it than to push it. Let's see, let us see. Okay, I'm trying not to do it too tightly, but then again, I want them to be kind of even as well, and not sort of fat in one place. But look, I've got a fat spot. It's kind of like that snake that ate Bernie Sanders. You know, that meme kind of wasn't in the same vein of fun and gentle, loving humor that the rest of them were in, but it kind of ended things, didn't it? Uh-oh, oh no. Guess what's coming through? Cinnamon. Help! And it's making a colossal mess on the floor. But hey, here I keep going. Yeah. Quite happy with this. Have you figured out what I'm making yet? Yes. This is a Cinnabon. And God, I can't wait to eat them. It's an almost exact recipe of what you would find at the Cinnabon in the mall. So I really like it, and when Rachel made them, it was perfect. They were perfect, Rachel. I'll never match what you did, but maybe oh look, I can stretch it out a tiny bit here and compact the ends in. Okay, I only made a tiny mess on the floor. Yeah, I'll clean that later. Okay, so next we're going to slice it, and the recipe actually suggests that we use dental floss to cut through, but I kind of think that's weird. I don't know why. I don't even want to bother with that. So I'm going to just use my big knife here, and I've got a pan ready, by the way. This is a 9x13 glass bakeware. It's already pre-greased with a little bit of Crisco. Oh yeah, I brought these to show you. These are my grandmother's kitchen tools that I was so lucky to inherit. It's a tin measuring cup. Look at that. Isn't that awesome? And this is the egg slicer. So I told you a couple of the wires are broken off, but you can see, whoop! Isn't that a treasure? I love it. I'm so happy to have a little part of my grandmother here with me in the kitchen. Okay, here goes. So I'm cutting them about 1.5 inches thick. And don't forget, this is my very first time doing this, but look, oh, it's a lovely, lovely cinnamon roll. I'm gonna stick it in the pan. One. Holy smackers. Now I know why they want you to use dental floss, because the knife kind of squishes things, but honestly, I think it's gonna be fine. Wow, oh my God. I can hardly wait to chomp into one of these. Yeah, I did make a mess. I'm terrible, it's terrible. Okay, here we go. Oop. Oh, that's not too bad. That is not too bad. The way it's all working out. I need this a little closer. Here we go. Oh my God. I never thought in a million years that I could make these. I was intimidated by the recipe and especially intimidated by the dough part. And see, I did screw it up anyway, so it serves me right. I should have been more confident. Oh my God, these are gonna be so good. Oh my God. I want to cut them a little smaller so that I actually fill the pan. Do you think I'll fill the pan evenly? I don't know. I don't know how this will turn out, but they look pretty damn good. Even if I don't fill the pan, I'm gonna be happy. Oh, you know what? I might just get there because of what I have left here. It could actually work. Yeah, so I'm half, I think that I would call that half done. The pan half full at this point. Move them around a little bit because they're gonna expand and they're going to stick together too. So make these a little smaller. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cuts, that's 6 more. Okay, it's gonna be okay. I think it's gonna be okay. Whoop, whoop. I'm so excited. Okay, I'm gonna just move this so that I can see what I'm doing and reach it better and show you better. Next time I'll try the dental floss maybe. Hey Rachel, do you use dental floss to cut yours or just a knife like this? Because yours were perfect, so whatever you did, I'm fine with doing. Cinnabon, eat your heart out. Yum. Okay, this is my second last cut here. Yeah, the pan is pretty much full. And one more. Be careful not to pull it all apart. Okay, and wow, I couldn't tell you, I'm so thrilled. I think I'll put it this way. So that's a tiny one at the end there, but who cares? I think I'll still eat it anyway, wouldn't you? You know what? I'm just gonna sprinkle this business on top because there's another thing that happens. The icing goes over this anyway, so I don't care what they look like under the icing, right? Yeah. There we go. Okay. Now they go into the oven, and while they're in the oven, we will make the icing after I clean the floor. I'm back. I realized that the recipe actually calls for the cinnamon rolls to rise in the pan again for half an hour before they get thrown in the oven. So they are under a tea towel right now. I don't think they're gonna rise again anyway because, yeah, I screwed up. But I can get started with the icing. So I've got a 1/4 cup of cream cheese here. It's at room temperature, which is what the recipe asks for. And over here I've weighed the unsalted butter that needs to go in. So I will just bring that over, pop it in the bowl, get this out of here. Where's my wee spatula? My wee mini one. Okay, here. Get this cream cheese in here. And you can see I've got my electric mixer out this time because there's no way that I'll be able to whip this into a proper topping just by hand. And oh, there's actually salt that goes into this as well. And of course icing sugar and vanilla. So let's see, how much salt? 1/8 of a teaspoon of salt. That's just a tiny bit, it's hardly any. But we'll throw it in. There we go. Sprinkle, sprinkle. Throw that in. How much vanilla do we need? Half a teaspoon of vanilla. Don't let me mess up again, okay? I'll have to be a lot more careful. This I always over pour. I don't know why. I can never just pour a nice level. Yep, see? It over poured. Made a mess, but a little extra vanilla won't hurt, will it? No. And then what else? Oh yeah, icing sugar. So this is the key ingredient, of course. How much do we want? 1.5 cups. Okay, well, I've got a half cup here, so I can just use this 3 times, I think. And again, I made it a level cup. I just dip it in and then level it off on the outside of the bag there. Do that one more time. That's 1.5. Smells amazing. And I better close this up again, or I think I could have a sugar disaster on my hands. Knowing me, I'll make a mess. All right, here we go. We're gonna just mix this together now. Everything's room temperature, so it really should mix nicely, but well, let's pray now. Okay, nice and slow at first. There we go. Now I've broken it all up. Maybe a bit faster. Okay, so I'm going now to the instructions. Oh, where did it go? I'm past it. Okay. Beat well until fluffy and smooth. That's all it says. So, oh, that's too high. Always turn your mixer off and remove the beaters if you're going to lick them, okay? That's my advice. The other advice that I have, that I learned the hard way, is when you're cleaning up after you make dough, use cold water. Otherwise, if you use warm water, it just starts to make everything into glue, and it's really difficult to clean. So you'll thank me if you use cold water to clean up with. There we go. It's starting to become a bit more of a soft mixture. Checking the recipe again, just because I'm wondering why it's crumbly instead of liquidy, but that could be because my butter is not. It was in room temperature, so I don't know what's going on. Thanks, Edel. Oh, here we go. But it's not going to pour over top. I think it's just going to, it's not going to go on the way I think it should go on, but I think it's going to come out the way I think that it will come out. I'm optimistic. Yes, you have to be an optimist if you want to be a cook, I think, or a baker or something. Now it's starting to be very thick. Okay, now we've got something. Oh, I see. So it it's just gonna go on top of the cinnamon buns in clumps, little clumps, and then it will melt when, because it's gonna go on them when it's hot. So look, I've got a nice stiff topping here. So I think that's it. Let's see. There we go. Okay, remember my rule. Always take them out before you lick them. Let's have a taste. Mmm, that is delicious. Oh my goodness. I'll save some for Eris, honest. Okay, great. So now our topping is ready, and I think that I've killed about half an hour since I last saw you. So I'm going to just clean up a little tiny bit, and I'm going to stick our lovely cinnamon buns in the oven, which has reached its temperature. Yeah, they didn't rise again a second time, but don't they look good? Cross your fingers that they're gonna turn out perfectly. Anyway, even if they don't look perfect, I know they're gonna taste good. I'm back. I'm so excited because I think that these things have turned out really well, even after the yeast mess that I made, the little error and omission that happened. But anyway, they rose really nicely in the pan. They look nice and golden brown, and they've been cooling for about 5 or 8 minutes now. And so I'm going to ice them. And I'll take the mitts off for a sec. The gloves are off. This is my new icing tool. It's from Pampered Chef. I've been supporting a few people lately who have had Pampered Chef parties. I try to support everybody kind of equally. Oh my, yum. Anyway, this thing, I think will do a really nice job of putting a nice drizzle over top of the cinnamon buns. So it's my first time using this as well, so I don't even know exactly what to do, but I think I'll figure it out. Anyway, here they come. Let's do this. Here's my beautiful tray, cinnamon buns before icing. And now you can watch me struggle with this crazy thing. Okay. Actually, you know, they make it very easy. It fits in your hand really nicely too. So they say not to ice these things right away, but you do want the icing to melt a little bit. So I'm just gonna try it. Here we go. Woo, back and forth. Make a nice pattern on here. Okay, I'll tell you what. Ow. I'm already gonna have to take a break. That is very difficult. I need to maybe use the palm of my hand a little differently. Yeah, I think this will be better. I have weak ass hands. Ooh. Nice. Here we go. They're coming out really nicely. The icing is delicious, by the way. If I do say so myself, I always say that. Whoop. Yeah. There we go. One row done. Next row started. I'm getting better at it already. It helps to sort of release the trigger every so often. And here we go. And it is melting nicely. It's getting down into the nooks and crannies. What the recipe said, or actually I went to a couple of sites about the icing, and one said to double ice them. So if I have enough left after I cover them sort of in this manner, then I'll come back in a few more minutes and do another round. Just so that we make sure, oh yeah, it's melting amazing. Yeah, so that we make sure that there's a really nice decadent coverage on here. And like I said, keto diet, not happening today. It's okay to cheat once in a while. Right? Here we go. I'm almost done. Yes, so thank you all for watching and bearing with me, my trials and tribulations. Next time I will not forget that extra teaspoon of yeast, and I bet you they'll puff up even more. But for now, I would have to say I'm chuffed and they're frosted.